Legacy and Wisdom, Gilgamesh, The Walls of Uruk, and the Search for Immortality opening scene. The Return to Uruk. The sun hangs low over Uruk's horizon, painting the city's bricks with molten gold. Gilgamesh strides along the crest of the city's walls, each step echoing with the memory of his journey, his search for life's secret, his grief for Enkidu, the endless miles of dusty roads and distant mountains. The walls beneath his sandaled feet are warm, their surfaces rough and pitted, radiating the heat of the day. The familiar weight of bronze armor clings to his shoulders, pressing him toward the earth even as his gaze seeks the sky. Below, Uruk pulses with its own music. From the Anu ziggurat, priestly chants float on the air, mingling with the sharp clang of craftsmen's hammers and the steady lowing of oxen. The cries of children and the shouts of merchants weave into the city's living symphony. Scents drift upward, pungent incense curling from temple altars, the tang of sweat from laborers, the yeasty warmth of bread baking in communal ovens, the ever-present undertone of dust, earth, and civilization intertwined. Gilgamesh pauses, his hand on sun-baked stone, inhaling deeply. The city is alive, its rhythms and textures, its sounds and smells, a living testament to what hands and hearts can build. The meaning of the walls. Civilization as immortality. Gilgamesh's journey has failed to deliver him the secret of eternal life. But as he surveys Uruk, a new revelation dawns. The walls he once commissioned in youthful pride now rise before him as more than defense. They are the physical embodiment of civilization, the collective work of generations. Here, memory and legacy are not bound to the flesh, but to stone, clay, song, and law. The walls stand as a paradox. They offer safety from the chaos outside, yet also separate the city from the wild. They declare permanence, but each brick is subject to time. Still, together they form a legacy that outlives any single king. Look on my works, Gilgamesh thinks, echoes of pride, now tempered by wisdom. Civilization, he realizes, is itself a kind of immortality. Through the city's works, its stories and customs, people endure. The walls are memory made manifest, rising from the dust. The king's true achievement is not to live forever, but to build something that does. Mesopotamian life. The pulse of Uruk. In every corner of Uruk, daily tasks sustain this legacy. Weavers, often women, guide wool through looms, their deft hands producing the city's prized textiles. Brewers monitor bubbling vats, the air tinged with malty sweetness, brewing the beer that nourishes both laborers and gods. Potters shape clay on spinning wheels, their hands caked in mud, transforming earth into vessels for food, trade, and ritual. Farmers labor beyond the walls, guiding oxen through fertile silt, coaxing wheat and barley from the floodplains. At the heart of the city, scribes sit cross-legged in shaded courtyards, styluses in hand. They press wedge-shaped cuneiform into clay tablets, contracts, laws, inventories, letters, each impression a thread in Uruk's tapestry of memory. Law and contract are not ephemeral but preserved, archived in temple libraries. These tablets, some bearing the names of women as property owners, witnesses, or priestesses, ensure the city's order and continuity. Women's roles are vital, both practical and spiritual. In addition to weaving and brewing, many serve as priestesses, mediating between the city's people and its gods. At home, women anchor family life, passing stories and rituals from one generation to the next. Their labor, seen and unseen, shapes Uruk's soul as much as any king's decree. The Uruk expansion, monument and memory. Uruk in Gilgamesh's age is not merely a city. It is the city, the center of a world whose influence radiates across Mesopotamia. Trade networks stretch from Anatolia to the Persian Gulf, lapis lazuli, copper, timber, and grain flow through Uruk's gates, their origins as varied as the city's ambitions. The Anu ziggurat rises above the skyline, a mountain of mud brick reaching toward the heavens. To climb it is to move closer to the gods, to build it, to claim a place in history. Gilgamesh, in life and in legend, is remembered not for conquering death, but for raising such works, monuments that outlive their makers. Uruk as a modern metropolis, the New York of its age. Uruk in its time is a marvel, a city of innovation, diversity, and restless ambition. Its streets are alive with voices from far-off lands, its markets crowded with goods and ideas. If Gilgamesh walked through Times Square today, he would know the pulse of the crowd, the blare of commerce, the hunger for greatness. He would see in skyscrapers and subways the same drive to build, to connect, to remember. He might marvel at electric lights, moving images, the rush of traffic, but the essence of striving, of building, of seeking meaning through communal achievement would be familiar. Uruk and New York, both are mirrors of humanity, longing to leave a mark on the world. The walls of Uruk, safety, isolation, and the nature of legacy. The walls are more than stone. They are a metaphor for the tension at the heart of civilization. They promise safety, yet create distance. They claim permanence, yet are always under threat from time and decay. To build is to hope, to defy nature's erasure, even as one knows that nothing lasts forever. In building the walls, Gilgamesh sought to conquer chaos, to impose order on the world. But the walls cannot keep out death, nor the wilderness within the heart. They are a testament not to immortality, but to the courage of mortals to build, to create, to remember. Kingship, the mediator. Between mortal and divine, Mesopotamians saw their kings as bridges between the human and the divine. Kings performed rituals, offered sacrifices, and maintained temples, ensuring harmony between earth and sky. The king's body was mortal, but his role was cosmic, his actions rippling through the city's fate. Gilgamesh's journey transforms him. Once he sought fame and immortality for himself. Now he understands that true greatness lies in service, in building, leading, and remembering. His wisdom comes not from victory over death, but from accepting his place in the chain of memory, one brick among many in the wall of civilization. Legacy and modern thought, memory, mortality, and meaning. The lessons of Gilgamesh echo loudly in modern philosophy. We too fear oblivion. We too build monuments, skyscrapers, libraries, digital archives. Philosophers from Plato to Heidegger have pondered the tension between mortality and meaning. Plato's Forms suggest that ideals outlast the physical. The city, the law, the story endures even as individuals perish. Heidegger's Being Toward Death argues that acceptance of mortality is essential for authentic living. Knowing we will die, we strive to create, to love, to leave behind some trace. Contemporary thinkers explore legacy in terms of collective memory. Maurice Halbwachs, for instance, posits that memory is social. We remember not alone, but together through ritual, architecture, and story. In this light, the walls of Uruk are not just a city defense. They are civilization answer to death. The urge to build, to record, to remember is the human response to the void, sensory reprise, the city's eternal pulse. As dusk deepens, Gilgamesh lingers atop the walls. The chants from the temple grow more fervent. Hammers echo as craftsmen finish their work. Livestock shuffle into their pens. The bricks beneath his hands are cool now, the memory of the day's heat fading. The smells of the city shift. Incense and bread give way to smoke and the tang of evening fires. He remembers the laughter of Enkidu, the wildness beyond the gates, the ache of loss. In the city's heartbeat, he feels the pulse of all who came before and all who will follow. Legacy, he understands, is not escape from death, but participation in the life of the city, to be remembered not alone, but as part of a people. Symbolic analysis, walls, memory, and the human condition. The walls of Uruk are both shield and barrier. They protect the city, but also separate it from the unknown. They stand as a challenge to nature, a declaration that humans can impose order, carve meaning from chaos. Yet they are vulnerable, subject to siege, to the slow erasure of wind and rain. Legacy is always double-edged. To build is to hope, but also to accept loss. The story of Uruk is one of striving, not for personal immortality, but for something larger, more enduring. Civilization itself is the only immortality mortals can claim. foreshadowing the epic, Enkidu, wilderness and mortality. In the shadows beyond the walls, the wild still waits. Gilgamesh feels the tug of untamed places, the memory of Enkidu, the wild man who was his friend and mirror. The city cannot fully banish the wilderness. The heart cannot escape its own mortality. The epic's wisdom lies here. To embrace both civilization and wildness, to accept limits, to find meaning not in endless life, but in the bonds we forge, the works we leave behind, the memories we share. Conclusion. The wisdom of Uruk. Gilgamesh, at journey's end, understands that the walls are his true legacy, not because they are eternal, but because they are communal. Their strength lies not in their stone, but in the generations who built, maintained, and remembered them. Mortality is inevitable. Oblivion can only be defied through shared memory and creation. As the city's lights flicker and the stars emerge above the ziggurat, Gilgamesh's wisdom is clear. To build, to love, to remember, is to be truly human. In Uruk's walls, the story endures, fragile, imperfect, but alive.